Hello YouTube, this is Guest75 and I just want to talk to you today about Windows Phone 8 and how it really appeals to me and what are its strengths. Why should you go for it? What makes it so special? And I also want to do that comparing it to other platforms such as iOS and Android. Because you've been hearing a lot that the apps supposedly wouldn't stack up. So we've heard last week Joe Berfiore say, for instance, that they now have 180,000 apps and that they can compete app-wise. Of course, if that's true, that's up to you, but I really want to view Windows Phone 8 through a user experience perspective and how well organized and how well it runs apps compared to other platforms. So for this review, I'm going to be using the Samsung 8s, and I just want to really stress that it's not about the specs or anything about the hardware of this device. It's really about the software and the platform that it runs on. For iOS, I'll be using an iPhone 4S, not the latest iPhone again, but again, I'd like to stress it's not about which is the fastest or which is the best hardware. It's just about the operating system in general. I'm also going to have some Android examples, and I'll be using an Xperia device for that. And there's also going to be a brief introduction with and refresh with the Lumia 800. So let's get to it.
Who's the person you probably talk to the most?
College buddies.
My friend Leslie.
My wife. So in your iPhone 5, everything's built around apps. So if you wanted to see what she was up to on Facebook, you got to find Facebook app, open up Facebook, wait for Facebook to load, type in your wife's name. These are all called live tiles. So I can pin the people and the stuff I care about straight to the start screen. That's my wife's tile. And it flips over and it tells me her most recent Facebook status. Mobile, text, all consolidated. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
So this is the Windows Phone 8 commercial with Ben Rudolph from when Windows Phone 8 was launched back in 2012. And you see that they focus a lot about the people. But as you'll find out in this review, Windows Phone 8 is much more than that.
So everything related
Aggregated
to that
into one
person.
spot.
So just to do a bit of a refresh, this is the Windows Phone home screen. It consists of live tiles, and those live tiles represent apps, and those live tiles also auto-update. So the live tiles is a bit of a mix between icons and widgets on that we know from Android, except they live update themselves. Now these live tiles are resizable. You can reorganize them any way you want, and if you swipe to the right you get a full list of all the apps that you have installed on the phone. Once you go over 20, I think you can check them by alphabetical order. Now of course Windows Phone also allows for smooth multitasking, the likes of which have been a bit copied in iOS 7 since it has the same card overview for switching between apps. So now that we have covered the basics, why do I think Windows Phone 8 is the best at what it's doing? Well, for starters, the notifications. When you get a notification on other phones, usually on iOS or on Android, you see what kind of notifications you have on the numbers and in the down toggle that you have from the top. But on Windows Phone, as soon as you swipe up, it starts recounting the notifications that you have, enabling the user and giving it extra visual attention to see what he has missed and how many he has missed. Another thing that's really good that Windows Phone 8 does is integration with the likes of Facebook. So you can update the profile without opening the app, and you can even update your profile photos from outside of the app. And everything is integrated with Facebook, so you have Facebook chat built in. That's something that is really nice. And you can also put people that you care about a lot closer by pinning them to the home screen. And pinning, that's another thing that's really good about Windows phones. You can pin people's or apps or people from apps. On iOS, for instance, when you get an app, Facebook, it consists of the app, and you can use it to share and upload when you make a photo. On Android, the app consists of three parts. You have the app itself, you have a shortcut that you can upload it from the photo app, and you have a widget that you can update your status with and look into what other people are doing. On Windows Phone, this approach is entirely different, and it's almost ridiculous how good they've done this. They've got the app, they've got the links that you can upload and share things to Facebook from other apps like the photo app. But what they've done is, and that's also with other apps they have, parts of the app, you can disperse them on your home screen and use them as you like. So for instance, you have the app events within Facebook, you can pin that to your home screen and go straight to there if you need it. Another one is messages. And the list goes on. Places, you name it. It allows you just to be free with the app and eliminates a lot of steps that you have to do on other phones. So just to give you a few examples, say I want to go to the group on my Facebook app. First I would have to open the app, go to my profile, go to the group that I am. On Windows Phone it allows you to pin the group that you want to go to on your home screen. So it eliminates all the steps. Another good example is Instagram. You have people that you follow on Instagram. Sometimes they do something special, they get married or they go on a holiday. You want to see what they're up to. You can just pin that contact from outside the app on your home screen, and you're one tap away from what he's doing. The same with Vines. I mean, you got a lot of Vine accounts, and you just have some guys that upload really cool stuff. You want to keep close to them. You want to see what exactly they're doing. You can just go to their profile, pin them to the home screen. Windows Phone eliminates all the steps that you have to do that you do have to do on other phones. So I want to get to a profile on a Vine. I have to open the Vine app, I have to go to my feed, see if they uploaded something, go to their profile, and then there are all their vids. All these steps are eliminated and non-existent in Windows Phone 8, and that is just something it does really well. Last two examples that I want to give you of this functionality is something like Spotify. So you have Spotify, you have your playlist, and every time you want to play a song or go to Spotify, you just have to open the app, go to your playlist, and check out the playlist. On Windows Phone, you can just pin the playlist to your home screen, and what it does on the next time you tap to open that tile that you placed on the home screen is open the app and start playing the playlist that you wanted to play. Really easy, and eliminates again all the steps that you would have to take on other phones, which is opening the apps, going through your playlist, and selecting the playlist that you want to hear. Another example is YouTube, one of the most used apps, and there's some really nice clients available for Windows Phone 8 which just look really nice. I used MyTube as an example. So you just go to your profile, you go to your subscriptions, and then you have your channels. What can you do? You can just pin the channel that you want access to your home screen, and the rest is as I already explained before. It just opens the app and brings you directly to the channel. You can even pin individual movies to the home screen. It just doesn't get any easier than this. It's just ridiculous how easy these apps seem to work on the Windows Phone 8, because it eliminates all those steps that you have to do on other platforms again. Another thing that really enhances the user experience and is really unique to Windows Phone 8 are the so-called hubs, or convergence as I like to call it. They're places where all of the apps that have the same context get together. So the first example is the Photo Hub. All the apps that you have to do with which have photos at the center of its functionality and in the same context can be found in the Photo Hub. So any photo you have, you can open with those apps. Also after you've taken a picture or just from the album. It also brings together photos from those apps, also for instance from Facebook. So you can also see all the pictures that you've uploaded on Facebook right from the Photo Hub. And that is just really easy. The biggest and most useful hub that I found is the Music and Video Hub. And again, just like I explained, everything that falls under the same context. So all the media and music apps are in there. And it keeps track, it makes a history of which files you play in which app. So for instance, I've played some YouTube videos or from Dailymotion even. They are all displayed in that same history list. All I have to do is tap it and it will open that video in the respective app. So that's really handy with MyTube or Dailymotion if you really want to show somebody something that you viewed and it's still in the history. It's just one tap away, you can review it and enjoy the football game with your friends or something like that. Another thing that's really handy is also with Spotify. All the playlists you play are also in that same list. So that is just again something that makes working with a phone, getting access to what you need from a phone, which is in the end what we all try to do. Really easy and really user-friendly, and a unique functionality to Windows Phone as a whole. The final hub is the Games Hub. It's not really that special unless you're really into the Xbox ecosystem, where you can just see your own avatar and stuff like that. Game scores, status of your friends. But another thing that's also pretty nice with the Xbox is that they have their own studios and they actually make exclusive Windows Phone games for it. So one of the first big ones for me is Halo, and it's really nice to play, really immersive, and maybe the best game I've played on a mobile phone to date. It's a cross-platform game also, so it's available on Windows Phone 8, Windows 8 RT, but also Windows 8, the full version on your PC. So that is all pretty nice. Another thing actually is that all of the things that I've mentioned until now also holds true for a lot of Windows Phone 7.8 phones. So they're also still very fast, even though they're on a really old hardware. Single core processor from back in the day. I think it was in the Google Nexus 1. And you can just see that it all comes together, and that Windows Phone is really well optimized. It's most of the time is really smooth and swelled up, and I haven't been able to catch it on the stutter or just it hanging. So that all in all is why I think Windows Phone 8 is at the moment one of the best platforms, and you should really try it for yourself, see if you like it, because it just offers some functionality and some user experience it's just not available on other platforms, and it really is leaps and bounds ahead in some respects. And that's mainly just in getting things done, getting access to apps, and the ease of use of apps. So really high user friendliness and easiness of operation. And I think that is something that's always important on a mobile phone. Another neat thing they've done in Windows Phone 8 is called the function lenses. And that is mainly in the camera app. You have options to choose from, but similar to iOS actually, you don't have a lot to choose from, just the standard built-in functionality. But what lenses let you do is they incorporate the apps into the camera interface. So all of the apps that have to do with capturing footage, you can just add their functionality to the camera app. So it's really easy, and it really is really easy to expand the functionality in the camera app. So for instance, I can't take panorama shots or use certain filters. Those lenses let me do those as I please. And that is just again something that has to do with convergence and direct access and ease of use, and actually expanding the functionality of the phone. So I know what you must be thinking. Well, Gesh, what about the apps? Well, all the commonly used apps like Snapchat and Vine, Instagram are all available right now for Windows Phone. So unless you're somebody who always has to have the latest apps like Pinterest or Path, those kind of things, then you might be feel a bit hard done by them not being available yet. But just the basic and usual apps all work fine, if not better, on the Windows Phone 8 platform. And like I said, a lot of this functionality holds true for Windows 7.8. Only thing on there is that not all of the aforementioned apps are yet available, I think. So in the end, what do you get? A new and sophisticated platform which is just over 3 years old, which really redefines how you use your phone and how apps act on a phone and on a platform. It just really offers functionality and easiness that is just unheard of. And I think, in my opinion, it's the new, most user-friendly OS that you can get on a phone. And also, it's really well optimized, so most of the time it works really fast. And because it doesn't need that much power, because it's so well optimized, it's also good for the battery. So that is also one of its strongest points. In the end, some things it can do just makes other operating systems look so ridiculous. So if you're looking for a consistently fast phone, which does everything you asked of it and makes it really easy, there's actually no reason left not to go and at least try it. Now we all know that iOS also got known for its user friendliness, but of course, I'm just talking about the OSs, and the things that I've said for Windows Phone 8 count for all of their models. So there are 7.8 models, but also the really cheap Windows Phone 8 models like the Lumia 520, which you can pick up for less than 150 euros. So for that kind of price, you just get a phone that has really good performance, consistently fast performance for a really small price. Speaking of iOS, it's still a very good operating system with a wider choice of apps, but as you can see, as I've demonstrated in this video, in some regards it's just been outdone and overtaken by Windows Phone 8, which in its turn actually looks more like or acts more like Android in some respects, like the flexibility in apps. For instance, if you've taken a picture or anything like that, it lets you pick all of the apps that you have installed, and the list keeps on growing into the order of which you've installed apps. It lets you share pictures with all of those apps that have to do with it, just like you do on Android. On iOS, you are still restricted, and it's things like that that just give Windows Phone 8 the edge over iOS for me. And also, if you are coming from Android, it's easier to go from Android to Windows Phone 8 than from Android to try an iOS device, because the two are just really similar. And all of those things combined just make for a fantastic user experience.
So this was my shortened review. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you liked it. And what I really want to take away from this is, like, in the end, we use phones to communicate with other people, and I actually think it's really important how efficient, how easy that goes. Maybe in a few steps as possible to just get what you want out of the device. And I personally think Windows Phone 8 has really succeeded in this aspect, and it's just ahead of other platforms in this respect. Now, of course, apps and other things should still be addressed in the next versions, but really the philosophy behind how Windows Phone works and how it has to be used is really different. And so let me know what you think about Windows Phone 8 and which device you have maybe, and maybe not. I'll see you in the next video, because again, this was kind of school related, so I don't know when I'll be shooting another review again or something like that. But hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.